Hello YouTube, this is part 2 of what a crossover is supposed to do and why you need one. Alright, in this video basically I'm going to explain more along the terms of the speakers and why there's such a wide variety of sizes as far as it goes. Alright, now what exactly is your frequency? What's the numbers stand for? You know, you see, oh well, this will go from 47 up to 20,000, right? And basically one frequency, or one cycle, I guess you could call it, because that's actually what it's supposed to be called, is basically when your speaker is sitting right now like it's not playing at all, and you hit it with a one cycle, basically it's going to go down, and it's going to go up, and it's going to come right back. That's the movement. The speaker moves one time, alright, per second. Okay, now if you have, say, 10 of those, well then basically your speaker moves 10 times in a second. Okay, it goes up and comes back, and then it ends at where you started. That's what your cycles are. That's what the frequencies are. That is why the lower frequencies are usually obtained by larger speakers, and the higher ones are obtained by the smaller speakers, because a larger speaker has more force behind it, but with that, you know, it's only going to be able to move so much before it reaches its limitation. That's why subwoofers are meant for bass, because your bass is your lower frequencies, your lower cycles. Now your mid bass, which is usually around, say, 80 hertz up to all the way up to, like, say, 4,000, we'll just say. That's usually supposed to be reproduced by your mid-range speaker, because your mid-range speaker is a lot smaller, as you know from looking at my mid-range here. That's a 6.5 inch. Okay, so obviously it's able to move more quicker than a 15-inch speaker. Okay, so therefore its range is higher than a subwoofer, but lower than a tweeter. Now tweeters, usually for the most part, are around a 1 inch diameter. And for my particular component set, mine's going from 4,000 up to 20,000. So basically it means it's moving 20,000 up to 20,000 times per second. Now if you can just try to envision that, and envision a 15-inch speaker trying to do that, it's not going to happen. Likewise, you're not going to expect your tweeter to be able to move so far as a subwoofer can. I probably just confused the hell out of all of you. But basically, all it basically comes down to is you have usually around 3 different components. Each one of them is supposed to hit a certain range. And when you have your setup to where each one of them does what it's supposed to, that's how you're going to get the best sound you can get. And so you can build your own. You don't need a crossover like what I have, where obviously it's a component set and it comes with its own passive crossover. You can do what they call go active, which all that is you'll have your tweeters running off of one amplifier, you'll have your mid-ranges running off of another amplifier, or if you have a 4-channel amplifier, you know, your tweeters will run off the front channel, and your mid-range, or your 6.5 inch in my case, would be running off the rear channels. Some amplifiers have what they call, I believe it's band pass, which basically makes your amplifier the crossover. But obviously it's a much better crossover, and you have control over where your frequencies are set. So my old 4 channels that I had, the Phoenix Golds, they have that capability. And what it would do then is basically the tweeters would run off of the front channels, the mids would run off the rear channels, and the amp itself actually allows you to set your front channels, which is your tweeters. It has it so you can set them from whatever the low end you want to be, which it has what they call a 10 times multiplier, which means on that amplifier it goes from like 20 hertz all the way up to 800 hertz. So if I was to set it at the 400, and then you multiply that by 10 by putting on the 10 multiplier, then basically 400 multiplied by 10, which I cannot think off the top of my head, but whatever that number is, that's the number that it would be set at for the lowest part of it, not the highest, the lowest, which means the tweeters will not be producing notes below that number. Okay, and then the rear channels would pick up where the lowest number of the tweeters is. So whatever that number is, when you multiply it by 10 and below, it will play to that, and then you can adjust how low they play. So basically from that number down to wherever you set the crossover on the rear channels is where that's going to play. It's not going to play any lower than that. So therefore, you'll be able to have your bass, or your sub amp, you'll be able to have that set to where that leaves off. So therefore, basically, you're going to have 3 different components running off of your system, and every single one of them are going to be running the way they're supposed to, which, once again, equals out to have everything play the way it's supposed to play. You're going to have no distortion. It's going to sound extremely clear, extremely loud, and very, very pleasant. And that's basically the gist of your crossovers. Now, I know I'm going to have a lot of questions because, like I say in the first video, there's so much to it that you can't really explain it all in just a few videos. So just feel free to ask any questions that you may have about crossovers in general, and I will be sure to answer them for you. I will be coming back here with some more vids. I'm trying to keep them coming since I have the time to do it right now. So just stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please reply and please subscribe. Don't leave any hate mail or I will erase you. Ciao.